Where government hopes to finalize a class action lawsuit over the Marikana massacre by the end of this month. Families are demanding R1 billion and an apology from President Cyril Ramaphosa. Government gave an update on progress made in the matter earlier today. It comes nearly a decade after 34 miners were gunned down by police during a wildcat strike at the Lonmin mine. ENCA reporter Muloko Moloto joins us now live for the latest. Muloko, during that media briefing, of course, the State Attorney as well as the Solicitor General giving us an update. They seemingly are saying that 48 cases or so have already been settled. Just bring us up to speed. Exactly what did they say is happening in this matter?
Hello, Masero. Yes, indeed, 10 years since 34 miners were killed. And of course, prior to that, 10 people, including security guards as well as police officers, were also killed. In total, 44 people were killed. And of course, the strike began on this day. It was on the 10th of August. And 3 days later, we saw 10 people killed already. And 2 days later, that's when we actually saw the 34 being butchered by the police. And of course, the families of those who died, and here specifically the miners who were killed by the police, they never rested. They have been pursuing a legal action or a lawsuit against the state. And of course, a short while ago, we had the Solicitor General, Fetsisani Pandelani. He was just addressing the media. Let me bring him into this conversation. Thank you, sir, for making time. If you were to paraphrase, what was the main purpose you had to give an update on this matter? Specifically, what is key?
Remuloto, thank you for giving me this opportunity, and thank you to your listeners as well. I think when we gave you the update last year, we specifically concentrated on matters relating to the deceased families. And those would have been matters that have been preferred against the state, such as we dealt with. And we indicated as at that stage that we paid just under 76 million rand. I know that there are various amounts that are bandied about, but if you add them, it will just be under 76 million rand, which meant that as at that stage, we have paid all the claims that we had relating to loss of support and loss of income. Now, the update as we speak, or as we stand right now, is in relation to the other matters relating to, and you would also know, in between the settlement of those deceased matters, we also paid, it was reported a week after we made the report, we paid another 3 million rand, just under 3,100,000 rand, to another party that has sued the state. But that one was not a deceased claim. That was a settlement that we reached, and I hinted on it last year. The new information is that from the balance of the matters that were remaining, there were 48 that we were dealing with. We have paid to this date, from the 48, 102 million rand, just under 103 million rand. In fact, to give you the exact figure, it's 102 million rand, 305,000 rand on the portion of the matters that in fact constitute either malicious arrest, detention, injuries, personal injuries and related aspects, including special damages. So those would be general damages and special damages. However, these are matters that now are actually being judicially managed. It means some of the quantum that I'm hinting at now would actually relate to matters that we've managed to reduce or remove from the list that in fact were supposed to be serving in court from the 25th, which is a point that you also need to know, that matters were in fact supposed to be sitting in court from the 25th of July up to and including the 19th of August, which means any matter from the 48 that has not been settled, that doesn't constitute the 102 million rand, would actually have that window of opportunity to also be settled. At least by the 19th of August, would have reported back to the court to say maybe there's 1 or 2 matters that are remaining and we need to be allocated a judge to deal with those matters. The issues there is not about the merits. The issue there is about the quantum. How much should be payable on that portion of matters of the 48 that remain unsettled. So those are the
all right. And that's with regard to those who were either killed or injured by the police. Yes. Let's talk about the 10 who were killed. Yeah. Families Is there any money perhaps from the state that's been paid either for loss of support and all that? And is the matter currently before the state?
Remloto, the state attorneys and the office of the Solicitor General are creatures of instructions. We have not received any claim that I can actually attribute to the 10. But as my colleague has already indicated, we might have to look because, people claim under different names and so on and so forth. You would also be aware that causation is one thing that is looked at. If the state were to pay an ex gratia payment for someone that was acting within the course and scope of his employment with the state, it is not a part of litigation. So we would not have been briefed in relation to settlement pertinent.
I suppose that would apply to the police because they work for the state, but there were security guards there.
And that is where we are saying we might have to verify. But I can actually tell you that when we said we have settled for bereaved families, we're actually mainly referring to those that were deemed or it has been proven that they were killed by bullets that came from the police. So that other information will have to be sifted through. But if it doesn't form part of the 34 that we are saying we have paid under 76 million rand, it could be that they might have actually preferred their claim otherwise. But it's not something that actually resides with the state attorneys, nor does it reside with the Office of the Solicitor General.
So thank you so much for making time. Well, Masero, at the end of the day, obviously, this matter having dragged since a decade ago, South Africans would want to know how far it will drag on, if it's ever going to carry on. But of course, we know there's a separate matter that is before the court as well, where the miners are actually suing the president as well. And we were told earlier here that in this 48 matters that are being managed separately, the president was never cited in person.
And of course, we know that those miners are actually suing the president in his personal capacity. Thank you, Moloto, for that report coming to us live from Pretoria.